Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So right now we currently have a couple of different bills in Congress, which if passed, would raise benefits for some Social Security beneficiaries by as much as $485 per month. Plus, there is one Republican senator who's pushing for Social Security reform and a possible increase in that bill. So we'll be going over some updates on that as well. Plus, it seems like Nikki Haley seems to be gaining in the polls, or at least in one poll, on the former president and Donald Trump in one state. But does she actually have a chance to win? We're going to be covering that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive at least $60 in free cash or $60 in free stocks or possibly more, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you got to do is once you click on that link is open an account with Webull and then deposit at least 1 penny on the platform. That 1 penny you can then transfer back to your bank account after it settles. But once you make that deposit, you're going to receive 20 free stocks. Each stock is going to be worth at least $3. If you don't want to invest, again, all you got to do is sell all 20 stocks. You're going to receive at least $20 for it and then transfer that money right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into the lead story of today's video, of course, we have a lot of different lawmakers in Washington pushing for Social Security reform. That's because in around 10 years, possibly even shorter, if nothing is done, there is going to be a cut in benefits across the board for everyone receiving benefits by anywhere between 20 to 25%. This would obviously be very devastating. Now, one of those is a Republican senator in Louisiana. Currently, he has a bipartisan plan where he's working with members across the aisle. He's working with Democrats. He's also working with Republicans with a plan that would save the program and something that would work for both parties. So, according to Newsweek, Republican Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy said on Wednesday that former President Donald Trump and current U.S. leader Joe Biden should be more thoughtful about Social Security and do more to avoid the program's collapse. In a note on X, formerly known as Twitter, Cassidy wrote that political candidates have been unwilling to be honest about Social Security. He said, quote, Biden and Trump should be thoughtful in discussions about the future of Social Security. Instead, they seem willing to allow it to collapse. Now, he also wrote another tweet. He said, we have to stop lying to hardworking Americans who depend on Social Security. When the program goes insolvent in 9 years, benefits will be cut by 24% and poverty among the elderly will double. That is unacceptable. Obviously, he's right with that. We cannot have that happen. Now, according to Yahoo Finance, Cassidy and King said that conversations are ongoing regarding their plan, and they will provide further details when they have a, quote, fully developed plan, but they did offer a peek at a couple of possible elements. Now, Cassidy obviously is a Republican senator. Angus King is an independent, although he votes mostly with Democrats. He caucuses with the Democratic Party. And these are the two people that are coming up with their plan. Now, in their plan, they would actually have like a $1.5 trillion sovereign wealth fund. They would have this money invested like in the U.S. stock market, real estate, things like that, and they would hope for an 8% return. Now, this would be money separate from the Social Security Trust Fund, so it would not put the trust fund in danger. It would be additional borrowed funds. And what they would hope is that after all of the 8% returns compounded over the years, they would have enough money in this trust fund then to transfer that money to the Social Security Trust Fund, and that would be enough to pay out benefits and possibly even increase benefits as well. Now, they don't actually have a fully developed plan yet. They're still working out some kinks, but at the end of the day, it's going to have to be President Biden or Donald Trump who's going to have to push their plan if they ever come up with one. Now, they go on to say that, quote, there are dozens of considerations being weighed to protect Social Security, including locking early retirement at 62, an ironclad protection for lower wage workers, and seeking avenue to increase benefits immediately. Under what we are discussing, millions would immediately receive more, and no one would receive less. So obviously, it's very important. No one would receive less, and we would actually have millions of people receiving more. Now, there are currently a couple of other plans out there. We have lawmakers Bernie Sanders, and we have another lawmaker in John Larson. Now, Bernie Sanders' plan is called the Social Security Expansion Act, and his plan, what it would do is that everyone receiving benefits would receive an increase of at least $200, and those who receive the special minimum benefit, at most, they would receive a $485 increase. So then they would be receiving basically 25% above the federal poverty line, whereas right now they're actually receiving benefits less than the federal poverty line. Then of course we have the bill by John Larson. His bill once again is called the Social Security 2100 Act. In his bill, there would not be a $200 increase. Instead, there would be a 2% increase across the board, unless of course you receive a special minimum benefit. And in that case, you could receive an increase by as much as $485 per month, because you would then be receiving a monthly benefit of 25% above the federal poverty line. Now, the problem with both these bills is that in order to increase these benefits to be able to pay them out, of course, they would have to raise taxes, mostly among those who earn either above $250,000 per year or over $400,000 per year. And these people would have to pay more taxes. Now, the problem with this is that even though most Democrats would be on board with this idea, a lot of Republicans are extremely against taxing Americans more, and therefore they're probably not going to vote for this bill. And since they're not going to vote for the bill, we're not going to have enough Democrats in Congress, either in the House or the Senate, to be able to pass this bill. But let's go ahead and pull them up and look at the co-sponsors. So first off, we have the Social Security Expansion Act. This is a bill in the Senate currently that would raise benefits by $200 per month. We can see right now there are 9 co-sponsors, all happen to be Democrats, so no Republicans on board with that. Then we had the bill in the House. In the House, there are 34 co-sponsors. Once again, they all happen to be Democrats, not a single Republican on board with that bill. Then we take a look at John Larson's bill. Right here it is in the House. We have a lot more co-sponsors with this bill than Bernie Sanders' bill. There are 182 co-sponsors with this bill, but again, all of them happen to be Democrats, not a single Republican supporting the bill. And since Republicans have the majority in the House, there's pretty much no way it's going to pass with only Democratic support. Now we look at the bill in the Senate. John Larson's bill that happens to be in the Senate. This one happens to have 4 co-sponsors in the Senate, but once again, they are all Democrats. So unless, Democrats pick up at least 60 seats in the Senate and then retake the majority in the House, there's no way any of these bills are going to pass. But again, we can see they are getting more co-sponsors. It just comes down to whether or not they can get a bill in place that would have both Democrats and Republicans on board with the bill in order to pass it through. Now, in some other news, of course, we had a new poll that was released in New Hampshire for the GOP primary. And in this poll, pretty surprisingly, Nikki Haley is gaining on Trump. She is now just 4 points behind. So according to The Hill, a poll released this week found Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley trails former President Trump by 4 points in New Hampshire, prompting online outrage from the former president. According to a December survey by the American Research Group, asking voters who their preference was in the Republican presidential primary, Trump earned 33% of support. Haley earned 29%, which obviously is a significant milestone. Now, whether or not she can actually win, we'll have to wait and see. But overall, we can see the average here. If we look at the poll, nationwide, Trump has a huge lead pretty much on everyone by 52%. So obviously, even though Nikki Haley might be getting in the polls in one state and might even win in that state, overall, nationwide, Trump has a pretty big lead. Now, what is one thing that could possibly make it so Trump may not win? Well, what if we have enough states that just completely bar him from even being on the ballot? We just recently saw that in Colorado. And now we have other states like California, Minnesota, some other Democratic heavy blue states trying to bar Trump from the ballot. Now, surprisingly enough, we actually have the governor of California and Gavin Newsom saying, hey, wait, that's probably not a good idea to bar him. That's just going to be a distraction. So according to The Hill, Governor Gavin Newsom warned efforts to prevent former President Trump from getting on the ballot in his state could be a, quote, political distraction. He said there is no doubt that Donald Trump is a threat to our liberties and even to our democracy. But in California, we defeat candidates at the polls. Everything else is just a political distraction. And of course, the lieutenant governor pretty much was saying that they should be looking at every legal option to kick him off the ballot. Obviously, I have to side with Newsom here. If you hate a candidate, it doesn't mean they should be kicked off the ballot. If people of your state don't want him to win or don't want someone to win, they can certainly vote for anyone else. Democracy wins first. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below on that. And that's all we have for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.